Welcome to Haunted Horizons GhostCast, where your hosts, Alison Oborn and Cag Allwood, will share their experiences in some of the most terrifying and haunted locations in Australia and overseas. So turn the lights off, relax, and enjoy. All right, Cag.
Hello.
It is episode 10.
Oh, we made it to double figures.
It's a double figure episode.
Woo! How
Yay.
exciting is that?
What was that whistle?
I don't know. What was that whistle?
That wasn't you.
It wasn't
That's
me.
a giveaway.
No.
For those not watching the video version.
I know.
Which you can get if you subscribe. And then you can
Yes.
watch all this in wonderful colour
Mm-hmm.
and see what goes on behind the scenes, because we leave a little bit of that in.
Yeah.
There's a little plug.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you all had a really good Christmas. We've just out of Christmas now, aren't we, Kay?
Yes, we are.
And what a Christmas it was.
It was a great Christmas from
It was.
what I can remember.
But you and me had a bit of fun, so
Yeah.
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And now we're coming into New Year, and we're saying farewell to 2022.
Thank goodness for that.
Oh,
Again.
a ghostly whistle again. 2022 wasn't that bad.
No, it was bad enough.
We were back. We were back to travelling.
Oh, well, we were.
We were back to
travelling.
travelling. Let's look at the positives, not the negatives, Kay.
Okay, we'll go positive.
2020 and 2021 were the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're coming into a whole new year and a whole new year of travel.
We are.
Exactly. But we are going to quickly flick over to England again.
Yeah.
To a place we did in 2022, which is this year. Still, just. Your favourite place.
Oh, yeah.
We know how much you love it.
I love it. It's great.
So where was it?
We've been before, though.
We have.
But yeah, so we're actually going to do 30 East Drive in Pontefract, or also known as the Monk House.
The Black
Monk House.
Monk House.
Now, monks could be all sorts of colours, but this one decides to be black.
It does. Makes it more sinister, I think.
You think so?
Yeah. And for this one, we were joined by, in fact, we weren't joined by, were we? We kind of gate crashed, didn't we?
We gate crashed.
Somebody else's investigation.
We did.
So I'm going to introduce who the Whistler, Phantom Whistler, is in the studio. Yay! We got Amy and Jared back.
Woo!
Boo!
Thanks for having us.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
loved
Yeah.
it.
Nice and
Lovely.
relaxing.
Had a nice break.
You could have changed your clothes since the last time you came.
Nah.
So could I.
Just saying.
And my
So
earrings.
could I. Yeah.
Looks familiar.
It's been hard work sitting here for a week
It does.
and the same things.
Give the game away there, Kag.
No, I wouldn't do that.
All right. So now, Amy and Jared, they had hired 30 East Drive and very, very kindly invited us to go.
Yes, they did. It was
They
very
did.
good of them.
But before we go into what happened we're going to hold off with what happened on their night because they have yet to release their episode. But when they do, definitely go and watch it. They had some interesting things happen. But we're going to focus more on our time there with Amy and Jared when they joined us for our session. But before we do, we really should explain what 30 East Drive is, because maybe not many people know. So how would you... I'm going to let Cag describe what 30 East Drive looks like, because Cag's very good at this. And then we're going to pass over and see about some history.
So, 30 East Drive is a semi-detached. So for those that don't know what a semi-detached is, that's two houses joined together. Ex-council house in a council estate in Pontefract, which is North England.
Yeah,
And that sums it up, really.
it does.
Yes. It's not somewhere you expect to find a ghost, especially a monk.
A black monk.
Yeah. Sorry, a black monk.
Get it right.
Sorry, yeah. There's the creepy crawly black monk.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
But it's a very, very famous house, very well known.
Yeah, it is.
So, and we had been before,
Yes, we've been before.
which we'll talk about
Yeah.
when we get into the investigation side. But what I'm going to go pass over. I mean, we'd heard of it, but Amy, what attracted you to this house? What history do you remember from the house?
So I had always heard so much about this house. You know, you'll hear people claim that it's the most haunted house in England.
Mhm.
It's got a poltergeist. Obviously, you got the stories of the Black Monk. A lot of really intense, crazy stories come out of this place. So much so that they even made a horror movie about it. I think it's called When the Lights Go Out, or
Yeah,
something
when
to
the
that
lights went
extent.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, as a paranormal investigator here of places with such intense stories, I want to go there and I want to see what it's all about. I want some, black monk shadow figure to crawl across the wall at me or throw something at my face,
Don't we all?
pull me by my hair, drag me up the stairs or something.
Are we weird?
Which-
I don't know
And
how
they're the
everyone's
stories,
that.
they're all the stories that come out of that place, right?
Yeah.
So think
Pretty
of
intense.
1960s in England. Young family, two sort of teenage children move into this house, and right from the get-go they were getting stories of strange activity, and they range from, I think the first thing that they had was a layer of chalk dust sort of floating
Yeah.
down from the ceiling in the kitchen. They had a puddle in the kitchen as well that they could just not get rid of. Like, no matter how much you clean this puddle, it just keeps coming back. There's no source for why there should be water there. Sorry, throat. You've got objects moving, so things like pot plants being pulled out of the pot plant, or the pot, sorry, and then placed on the floor. Photographs being slashed. You got green foam oozing from the taps. Now, who knows what the heck could
Were
cause
you
that?
going to drink the water there, Jared?
Someone get a plumber to this house, will you? Got puddles on the floor and
I'm
green
sure
stuff
when we
coming out
got
the tap.
there, Jared was going to have a drink of water out the tap.
Yeah, well, I actually remember Jared messaged Cag and was like, "Cag, can you bring us some bottles of water?" Because I will normally just drink out the tap, but then
Not
I
at this
told
place.
that story to Jared, and he's like, "Oh no, I ain't drinking no poltergeist green foam."
You probably find it's connected to a frog pond or something.
Oh my god,
So, yeah.
probably. I think that this activity sort of grew violent in a way for the family, though, which I guess the daughter was dragged by the hair at some point, and that's sort of where they thought, best get out of here. This isn't a good environment for us to be in. But ever since, there has been a lot of stories and reports coming from the house, but like a lot of truly popular haunted locations, there are some people who are skeptical about why it would be haunted. Is it haunted, or believe it not to be? So it's one of those big name places, but yeah, whether it's truly haunted is, jury's out on that one. So that's hugely why we wanted to visit.
So it was one of the local shops that we went to get our tea. I won't say which one.
No, we went to a local shop and they asked what we were doing and we told them and they just went, oh.
So we went to find out for ourselves, didn't we?
We did.
And we'll get into a little theory on it at the end, I think, which
Yeah.
is interesting. But now, Diane was the 12-year-old, and Diane was the main focus. Didn't they have exorcisms as well? I thought they got
Yeah,
had a couple of exorcisms.
The exorcisms didn't go well. Supposedly there was holy water coming down the walls. People's faces were slapped, and also people being pushed down the stairs. Supposedly, is what my research came up with. So
yeah, so whatever was in there didn't want to be driven out by, or didn't appreciate whatever they were doing to exercise it.
And of course, there was another story about the neighbours, because the house had been empty for a while. That 2012, Kate?
Yeah, one of the neighbours went up to the son, Philip, in 2012 and said, I wanted to know about the people that have just moved in, the new people that they've just rented the house out to, because they're making an awful lot of noise at night. And to find out from Philip that nobody had rented it. They couldn't rent it out. So who was making that noise?
But coincidentally, that's when the movie came out as well.
Yeah, funny enough, the movie came out in 2012 as well. So, coincidence? I'll leave you to decide on that one, really.
So, a black monk. Where did this story of a black monk come from? What was the story behind it? I know the family called it Fred. I know the newspapers called it Mr. Nobody, did they?
Yeah. I think it was 1968 they called him Mr. Nobody. But it was good that the family humanised it, Mum, by giving him a name. I mean, Fred's a strange one.
Yeah, Mr. Nobody makes it a lot creepy, doesn't it? So, but I mean, it's no stranger than us giving the dark, shadowy figure at Tailem Town the name Ted. So I guess,
oh yeah,
the warmer and more fuzzy it is, the more humanized you've made it. So, but we're looking into the black garb. It was supposed to be a Cluniac. Is it Cluniac? Is that how you pronounce it? Monk who had been basically caught. One of the stories, and I'm going to go into two different versions here. One of the stories was he had personally attacked a girl and been caught for it. This was in the time of Henry VIII. And he had been hanged and the body had been thrown down the well. Is that right, Amy? That supposedly...
I had heard that the body was disposed of down a well, and that is what the house is built on top of. I don't know if, there's historical fact to sort of back that up, but that is, I guess, part of the stories that have accumulated over the years.
Yeah. The other version I've heard is that he did attack the girl, but his brother was captured and hanged in error instead of him. And now he can't rest and he's haunting the place out of frustration. So they're the two versions that we've heard, or I've heard.
And there's no real
There's
proof
no
for
evidence.
anything.
There's no evidence, but that's kind of what has come up. So
I have heard other people say, hey, there was never monks in this area. So they speculate maybe, these legends or stories have just been tied to this entity, let's call it, being a monk because of how it presents itself to people. So it appears as this cloaked figure. So people might see that and think, oh,
it's a monk.
They are a monk. But maybe they're not, and maybe that's just how they choose to show themselves, or it's just something else. I don't know.
Well, another little thing to play with, I'll go bring up later, but now might be a good time is, even if there's no monk there, even if the house wasn't originally haunted, let's say they made this movie and it was all one big story for media and everything else. So many people believe that this house was haunted. So many people have been investigating this house, believing there's a ghost there called Fred. With all these years of that happening, could we have made it haunted? So although it may not have started that, who knows? Maybe it didn't start that way, but maybe the collective belief in it being haunted has actually brought something in that's happy to play on whatever belief system we have. Who knows? Just a thought.
Yeah, it's a good theory, though.
So maybe it is haunted, Keg, unlike what the shop owner said.
No, I just have to say that I was on the side of the shopkeeper.
Oh, we had some curious things happen.
Oh, we did have some curious things happen, but I'm still on the side of the shopkeeper.
So, Kag, you're a resident skeptic on this one.
Yeah,
I am. I just took one look at the house the first time we went and went, seriously.
It is a very regular looking house. And very small. Very small as well. It's tiny.
And the thing is, why would he just stop on one side of a semi-detached? Oh, no, he hasn't, because he went through that lady's
He's gone through the
fitment.
7-foot fitment that the lady had next
door. Side, so.
Yeah, it's definitely a very small place, especially when you hear all the hype and you get, it's very tiny.
Yeah, and I'm not saying ghosts can't haunt ordinary looking places. But it just seems weird.
I'm glad, because you have seen the house I was born in, Keg.
Yes.
And that is a semi-detached house that you would walk past, not take any notice of whatsoever.
Yeah.
And yet that house terrified me and all the kids, my sisters, my brother, me. And that was highly haunted. Is that a word?
Very
Very
haunted.
And there's a lot of stuff happening in that house. But from the outside, you would walk past it not knowing anything. It'd be like the 30 East Drive. You would take no notice of it at all. Just a semi-detached old house. Doesn't look spooky. So I'm on the side of you can't judge a book by its cover.
No, you can't. I just, yeah. Shopkeeper, that's all I'm saying.
Now, before we get into our investigation, very quickly, we did go there a few years ago.
Yeah, we did.
And at the time, we couldn't get into 30 East Drive without booking into another tour. And the tour was really good. I mean, I am going to give Haunted Happenings a little plug here. If you're doing tours over in England, they're probably the better group that we go with. So
they're really good.
Yeah. So, however, it was a tour situation, so very difficult to not have contamination. But the interesting part, I think for us, the most interesting part was when we got there, we bumped into the neighbour.
We did.
Because she had to let us in with the key. And we sat down. She wouldn't let it. She didn't want to be interviewed. She didn't want to be on film. But as we were talking to her, she was giving us a rundown of the house. As we were talking to her, we had a big bang from upstairs. Now, I know there's rumours flying around, that all of these noises that you hear, it's the neighbour next door, and she's banging on the walls trying to make out that it's haunted. But there was nobody left in the house. She was with us.
We were actually in her house and we left when her family did.
Yeah. We were actually in her house.
Didn't we go around to her house?
No, she was in the 30 East Drive. She opened the door for us.
No, we were around in her house and then she took us round to 30 East Drive. We sat in her lounge drinking coffee.
I thought that was in 30 East Drive.
No, and then she took us round.
Well, they're mirror images of each other because they're just the same house attached on either
What's the
side.
old saying? Look, a cat.
Honestly, seriously. We actually sat in her lounge and had a drink.
Amy and I actually went to her house too because we had to get the key.
Yeah.
So you have to knock on the door.
Oh, well, there you go.
So all her family was leaving and she said, I'll take you round now and then I'll leave you the keys. Just put them back through my letterbox.
Anyhow, moving on. So, but that was probably the most interesting thing we had all night. So we started in one of the bedrooms, and we did get without a doubt, the EDI on that first visit on that tour did seem to be going off in questioning until you spoke.
Yeah, no.
And then everything went quiet. It was like you you just asked the wrong question.
I think they know what
you could hear the whole room go, oh, the Australians talking again.
Yeah, no. Can I just ask, can you tell me, do you mind being called Fred? Does it offend you? If you don't like it, can you just flash once? If you do like it, can you flash twice, please?
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Moved away now. Stopped. Fred, can you come back and light up our lights to let us know that you're still here with us?
Yeah, it was. I think they knew how I felt. I think my thoughts of the building was actually oozing out of me from every pore.
Yeah. And I think everybody was picking up on it because I think the lady after that said something like, "Oh, Fred, if you're still there, because you chased it off, CAG."
Yeah, I did.
And it did come back, but he did tell us about another ghost there, and they believe maybe another one there is Joe, who was the father of the family who lived there. And apparently it goes, they told us that the father came home, was very drunk that night and had collapsed in the bathroom. And unfortunately, he had kind of choked he had started to be sick and he choked on that. So that was another ghost that seems to be there. Now, we didn't get much from Joe, really. Nothing like that came through.
We didn't.
But the most interesting moment from that first investigation was CAG, me, and our good friend Jill, who we meet when we go over there. We went into the portal room, CAG.
The portal.
The portal room.
Or
what is the portal room for those who don't know?
I'd like to call it when I lived in the UK was like a laundry cupboard an airing cupboard. Where the
portal.
boiler often used to
It's a
be,
portal,
where you get
Kat.
your hot water from, and you could put your nice towels in to keep them warm. But now, supposedly, the portals. Just saying.
And what happened was we were sitting there in the room facing the portal area, all right? And Cag asked if somebody could prove that they were there. And we got a clear as day EVP whisper. He's in here.
I don't think you're here. I think you're off somewhere else. You've got to prove to me that you're here. Light things up. Open the door. Let's have a demonic entity come out the portal. Ooh, well, hello.
See, he's in the portal, Cag.
Yeah.
He's in the room. So that's kind of all we got from the first trip. So when Amy and Jared invited us, we went, you know what? That would give us the opportunity to go back and do it properly. And back we went.
We did. And I don't think I've ever danced and sang as much before an investigation as we did with these guys in the kitchen.
We did. We
Well,
did
we were trying to get in the mood, weren't we?
We were.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. You get the energy up.
You do.
And then we tire out.
Well, no, they got the energy. We just got exhausted.
Yeah.
But
What
anyway.
were we singing?
Queen. I do
Bohemian
remember
Rhapsody.
getting there, and I was so pumped for some reason, and so were you. We were singing and dancing, and
You were.
You guys got there, and we were like, yeah. I felt like I was young again. I was going to go out to a nightclub or something. It was really it was a weird energy, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we were going live because that was the whole thing for us. We were going to go live there and get out of your hair after that. And didn't we start up in the...
Yeah, it started
outside. You started because Amy and me were out doing the interviews, weren't we? And I thought you'd been before.
Which I hadn't.
We had a little...
We arrived hours earlier.
Must be something to do with 30 East Drive that Alison hasn't got a clue what's going off there.
You were setting up.
Yeah, you were outside doing the start of the live, and I was upstairs setting up the equipment. And I had put a REM pod in the bedroom with the portal. And then I had a cat ball with some whiskey on the stairs. And whilst you were outside talking, both of those were going off. So, which I've never had anything like that before.
No. So when you arrived there, Amy and Jared, what were your first impressions of that house?
I had watched a couple YouTube videos and looked up a bit about the house, so I sort of knew what I was in for from what it looked like. And it is very small. It's one of those places that you go to and you're like, okay, it's very small, very sort of regular kind of house, inconspicuous. But sometimes those are the places that give you the most. But at the same time, I was also a bit, I've heard so much about this place. It is so hyped. I have had people reach out to me and say, hey, it's not haunted, don't bother going there. Whereas others have said it's extremely active, it's extremely haunted. So, that always makes me more excited to go and check out a place for myself. But I was curious to see if it would live up to the hype. And honestly, leaving that place, we did get a number of things that were pretty curious. So I'm not of the mindset that, hey, it's just not haunted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think it's a pretty curious place. What did you think when you saw it?
Yeah, definitely. I was a little underwhelmed just because these places that are so hyped, you have a vision in your head of what it looks like. And yeah, it was just so inconspicuous. I guess it doesn't mean it was bad. We had a great time there. But yeah, I guess I had this vision in my head of what this place was. We did film this months ago, so it's hard for me to remember specifically how I felt. But I do remember feeling a bit drained when we got there, hence why we were doing the dancing and singing to try and get that energy back. So, yeah.
Did you go with a belief that it was haunted, or did you have your reservations?
I went in open, but yeah, I think that part of me, back in my mind, was like, oh, maybe this is just one of those overhyped places.
And you, Jared? Because you're quite skeptical, aren't you?
Yeah, I sort of felt the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to be open for it?
Open for it, yeah. Open for
As
it.
was
but
I.
Open for it, but not expecting
Yeah.
plates flying across the room or anything like that.
Yeah. As was I, unlike Cag.
Yeah. I was still going with the shopkeeper.
It's fair enough.
Little Miss Skeptic
Fair enough.
there. All right.
It's okay to be skeptic.
Yeah, it is. Let's carry on with the story and see how skeptical you were after it.
Okay.
So, so we started the investigation, and we started on the stairs or at the top of the landing. So, and that's where things have been thrown. Wasn't there a clock or something thrown down there? Or
That was on the film, wasn't it? The film, there was a big granddaughter clock, rather than grandfather clock, was thrown
Okay.
downstairs.
Oh, yeah, the
but I
clock.
don't know if that was actually in real life.
I can't quite remember, but there are definitely things that have centered around the main staircase
Yeah.
upstairs. So, I mean, it's also the most central part of the house as well, because
Yeah.
it is quite small. So it,
Yeah.
literally connects you to upstairs, downstairs.
so we placed a lot of stuff on there. So we set stuff all over the stairs and on there because it is a small house. But we thought we would start in the portal room, Cag, where the portal is.
What, the airing cupboard?
And the door was shut. You had put a REM pod just outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
The portal door was shut.
Yeah.
And I opened it.
You did open it, and it was I blame dust. Or
Dust. When does dust make a REM pod go off?
it might have been a lot of it. No, I don't know what happened, but it was a bit weird.
Blame everything on
because-
dust.
The REM pod went off.
I did.
You opened, you released
I released.
whatever it was that was in the airing cupboard. Oh, sorry, portal. Yeah.
It was interesting though, wasn't it?
It was. It
But
was pretty cool.
As soon as I opened the door, off it went. So apparently there's a...
Oh, Ames, this is the portal cupboard.
This is a portal.
We've got to. We did have something happen today, me and Amy.
Oh, did you?
We came in.
Oh, hello.
That was going on.
I just opened the door.
Yeah, you
of
let
the
it out.
portal.
You know when you walked
I think
in?
I've just let it out.
You know when you walked in and you
Yeah.
heard that going off? I was standing in the hallway. I actually got my camera out because I had on the stairs the bottle of whiskey was going off. The
Yeah.
ball on there. This was going off, but I didn't catch this. This was stopped by the time I got my camera out. And then there was a big bang come from the next room.
Oh, well, the next room is just a bedroom, so it's not even. So, Jared, you were asking a lot of questions, weren't you, to try and find out who it was. We just lit out the cupboard.
Well, you know how like sometimes the REM pod's like beep, and that's it.
Yeah.
So and then other times it's like wee 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 wee, and it goes off a long time. So I was using that to try and get yes no answers. So I was like, if it's no, just give us a little beep. If it's yes, give us a prolonged sort of noise. And I went through all the questions, are you a monk? Are you a child? Are you an adult? And we're getting no for all of it.
Yeah.
Is there a portal? Are you a male? Are you female? So, yeah, we got, are you gender fluid? No. So we're getting no for all of that. So we're getting bips. And yeah, we weren't getting anything.
We
Getting a lot
thought,
of no answers.
yeah, I was going to say, we thought, well, it's not giving anything. It's not giving a yes to any of the questions about being human,
No.
which was very thing.
Mm.
And then somebody, I think, mentioned on the live about maybe it was a cat, and you'd heard that there was a cat there, Amy.
A ghost kitty.
Yeah,
Kitty cat.
Yeah.
and I can't believe, Cag and Amy, what you did next.
Are you female? Are you gender fluid? Okay. I give up.
Oh!
What?
Is there a cat here? Not that I understand it. Kitty. I suppose there's a cat here.
Oh, Mim said cat. It's a cat.
Is there a cat? Can you go towards the light?
Well, cat wouldn't understand, would it?
No. Come on, kitty, 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 kitty. Go towards the light. Over there.
Cat balls.
Over here, look.
Meow.
Over here. I can't believe I've just done that.
Oh, kitty!
We might have a cat here, folks.
It's a cat.
That's a yes.
Well, you've got to get in contact. If there's something there, you've got to get in contact with, haven't you, Amy?
Yeah.
And even if it's an animal.
Hmm.
So we would try and entice the cat to play with the balls.
Well, I think we asked, "Are you a cat?"
You know.
And if you're a cat, can you go near the thing? And the whole thing went off, didn't it?
So,
Well,
of
no.
course, the cat speaks
Ghost cat.
English.
Yep.
Of course it does. Cats apart from mine that's deaf. But ordinary cats would understand every single word that you're saying. They probably choose normally not to take the notice of you, but
So
It could have also been a spirit replying about a cat. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been someone.
that's
Me-
not as
Oh,
much
that
fun
was
as
the
having
cat.
a cat, though.
Yeah.
But the cat, I mean, just because it was a cat in life, because some people say we can reincarnate into animals and back again, so we're just energy. Maybe you don't need language. Maybe it just knows what we
I'm
want.
going with the fact it was a cat and we were talking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't talking. You were.
Yeah. Well,
What were you doing here, kitty?
Kitty.
Well, we asked
I said any cat. I'm like, kitty.
we asked what your name is, and it came through with Garfield. So
And then suddenly we started all these.
All these balls
Balls.
come from nowhere because everybody's throwing balls at the REM pod. It's like so.
I think we might have frightened the cat away.
At one point, I think it was the Ovilus that said run when we were throwing balls at it,
Oh, really?
and I think the Ovilus came out with run.
The Ovilus was very chatty.
It
I think that is the most
was.
I've ever had an Ovilus go off. And we just had it perched on top of the staircase from memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
So
moving.
none of
No.
us were holding it. You know how
Yeah.
the temperature of just you
No.
holding it can mess with it.
So that was just somebody telling the cat just to run because these balls are coming from all directions.
Get out of there, kitty.
I think the Ovilus at that point also, when after the kitty cat and the balls had gone flying, said black and holy, which was really really relevant to the place.
So on point.
Yeah.
Black Monk.
Black monk. I mean, at this point, I've got to admit, I was feeling comfortable in that house. It wasn't feeling uncomfortable, put it that way. It was still light, though, wasn't it, when we were there? Because it doesn't
Yeah.
get dark in England until probably 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were there, it was still quite light. So I guess we were feeling comfortable. I don't know, how were you feeling at that point, Amy?
I remember it being a really warm night.
Oh,
I
God,
remember it was like
Oh, yeah.
sweaty.
Mm.
There was a heat wave in
Yeah.
England at the time, so really warm. But I wasn't, nervous or, had any of those negative vibes that sometimes when you go to places you can feel, oh, there's something weird feeling
Yeah.
in here. It was fine. It was
Yeah.
just hot.
It was so hot. Jared
was
was
really
actually
hot.
wearing shorts. I think you
Yes.
said that's the first time ever you had worn shorts on an investigation.
True.
It was
It was
extremely hot.
putrid though, wasn't it?
Cag was just soaked.
I
No air
was.
conditioner.
Yeah, it was very hot in
No.
that house. So, but apart from that, it was uncomfortable due to the heat, but I wasn't feeling freaked out or anything like
No.
that. So we started an EVP session, and I think the only thing that came out was when we asked what year it was, and can you tell me what year? This goes back to the other episode last week about when you ask about years.
Mm.
And we asked that as well. What year is it? Can you tell us what year it is? And it just went no. And again, it's almost like, do they know what year it is? Do they know a sense of time and years where they are? I don't know. Do you get, Amy, Jared, do you get a lot of, do they ever say years for you?
I don't think I've ever had a relevant sort of year come through, but I have had, words related to, hey, we understand the question, but we can't answer it. You know what I mean? So
Same,
I
yeah.
don't know if it's like time works differently for them
Yeah.
or it's just, it's hard for them to answer.
Yeah.
Like, do they know that maybe they've, been dead for 100 years
Do
or
they have
longer?
Yeah,
Or
it's
I
like,
always
do
thought
they
it
have
was-
a concept of that?
I always thought it was more like imprint on time and on a loop sort of thing, or could be. I guess that's the residual haunting theory coming through, isn't
Yeah.
it, really?
Mm.
Yeah, but if they're interacting with us, it would take it away from residual, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But maybe time isn't a thing for them. I don't know. Who knows? We won't know until we go.
No, but it's too
We'll
late
find
to
out
everybody know,
then.
though, won't it?
And if it's nothing, we won't care. So, Ghostbox also said how many. I think, Jared, it was you that asked, can you tell us how many of us are here? And it came out with 4. So
Right.
it correctly answered that as well. I think that was it for the EVP session that we did. And then we went into the Ghostbox and we had a little play with that. And Kag, the most amusing question that you asked was a very random one, I believe.
Yeah, I asked this question before, and it was just very, very random because I thought, well, let's go for random rather than the same questions that people always ask. I thought, okay, do you like red apples or green apples? And the reason I said that is because I'd asked it previously on another investigation, and I've been called a slut.
Don't laugh, Jared.
Jared, probably.
So I went, okay, so just, last time I asked this, I was called a slut. So I asked the question, and then what happened next?
It called you a slut twice, actually.
Twice, yeah.
Twice in one session. So that was 3 times if you include the last time.
Yeah, so, okay, that's fair enough.
Now, I asked this question last night, and I got called a slut.
You did.
So I'm going to ask the same question. All right. Do you like red apples or green apples?
What can we say?
Lovely.
What can we say? Lovely.
Never ask someone about their apples.
It's like
Their apple preference.
Is there something I'm missing when it comes to apples? Is there something?
Red or green apples?
Yeah, is there something that I'm missing when it comes to that? And there must be. I don't know. I just thought I was talking about apples, but never mind. Obviously not.
Oh dear. And the obelisk scored again. Because what did you put out all over the house?
Marbles, man. Marbles are a favourite there.
There are a lot of marbles there. Marble.
Marble.
Yeah, we got the word.
Marble.
Got marble.
This place is absolutely full of marbles. Full. Well, maybe that's what. Oh, down here, Joe.
Oh, sorry.
But could that be, because it said marble just before that went off,
Right. That was weird.
if that was something from before, would that be classified as a marble?
Could be.
There are marbles all around this house, though.
So why are marbles, what's the story behind the marbles?
So I'm not sure where the marbles got introduced at what point in, the 30 East Drive's life, but the poltergeist is said to throw the marbles around. So they're everywhere. And I was so like, please throw a marble tonight. Every time I'd be like, please, like, just throw a marble at me, or not anyone, but you know what I mean? Like, if a marble flew across the room, that'd be very interesting.
would
So
It would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, so for the word marble or marbles to come up is actually kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, cooler if one flew across the room.
And you got it on video.
Yeah, that'd been the cherry on top of the cake, really.
The marble on top of the cake.
The marble.
Marble,
cherry.
marble cake.
And what word did the obelisk come out with?
Marble.
Marble.
Which we all got very excited. And then just after that, the ball triggered on the stairs. And we did discuss, didn't we, that maybe to somebody who didn't know the difference, one of those flashing cat balls would actually look like a marble, just a big marble, except it flashes.
Yeah, because it's clear plastic. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't know if it was a
True.
glass thing, but
Yeah.
back in the day.
So
Can we talk about the cat ball on the stairs incident names? Even though it wasn't in the video?
So I'll bring up something here, but you have to take it with a grain of salt, because later in the night, after these two ladies, Alison and Kag, had left, Jared and I were continuing our investigation. And we did not capture this on camera, but we did have a cat ball come down the stairs on its own.
Wow.
So Jared and I were both downstairs. I was in maybe the kitchen or the family room. Jared was near the stairs waiting for me to get equipment to go back up and continue whatever we were doing. And one came down the frickin' stairs.
And bounced down the
And nothing
staircase.
was recording except my body mic. So we probably got Jared calling out to me like, hey, a cat ball just came down the stairs. We're not filming. I don't know what the heck I say after that, but...
And Amy hasn't edited the video, so we don't know what we caught, but
Yeah.
I know we weren't rolling a camera on the staircase.
So I'm a bit... I mean, that's cool. I never saw it because I was in the other room.
Yeah.
Jared was standing next to the staircase, but it's just... I mean, it's cool, but it's, as an investigator and like someone who creates video content, it is devastating.
Frustrating, isn't it? And isn't that the way, though, that you get the good stuff when the camera's been turned off?
It's like they know. They just know.
And the thing is, as well, when we were there, I put cat balls on the stairs, and all 4 of us were going up and down the stairs, and none of them moved.
Yeah.
None of them moved whatsoever. So to have a cat ball then come down the stairs that you put up later on, then
We had a few, so I don't know if you did the same, but we had like a few, like one at the bottom, one in the middle, one at the top, sort of thing. Like we normally do that to have like a little trail of them.
Yeah.
But it was the one at the top that came down, and we had no lights on up there, so I just seen from the darkness a ball bouncing down. So
Just saw the flashing of it. Is it?
Yeah,
just to really dig it in that you didn't catch that. It's
Cheeky, so cheeky.
Yeah.
So not a marble, but cat ball. So
Yeah.
that was interesting.
So where it really got weird was we decided after the ghost box that we would put Jared, because Jared's always really good on the Estes. He's always
the Estes.
he likes
calms
it.
me.
It calms him. He looks
Does it?
He always looks comfortable when he's lying on the floor, a hard floor, but at least he had carpet this time.
he did.
And he looked even more comfortable lying on the bedroom floor with his head in a portal,
Yeah,
which is where we put him.
it was.
Yeah.
In the hot box. What was it called? That room?
The portal.
What's the room?
The airing cupboard.
Airing cupboard.
Hot
Yeah.
box.
The hot box.
We like
it
to
was
push the
definitely
limits.
It was definitely hot that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to push the limits
We
on
do.
Haunted Horizons. Jared's
do.
head in the portal.
In the portal.
And per previous episode, I like to lay down because I feel like it helps with relaxing and putting me in that trance state.
So you
Sure.
do trance. You do feel like you trance out.
If I do it for long enough and I'm laying down.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's where we put him. Amy agreed. It wasn't that we were abusing her husband. Amy actually, I think it might have been her idea, actually.
Probably.
I know. Let's put him on the estate. Why don't you just put his head in the portal? That'll work. So we put him on the headphones. So we got a few interesting little things come out. And one of them was, I think we asked if they remembered us from the first time when we went. But it wasn't Jared who came out with the answer. Again, it was the Ovilus that came out with the answer. And it was the words once, remember. We thought, oh, that's very relevant to what we'd just been asking at the time. So apart from that, I don't know if we got too much out of Jared, I think, in the portal.
No.
Unless you can remember anything.
Got
Rainbow,
interference,
Specific.
didn't you? You got lots of interference.
Oh,
on the,
yeah. Yeah.
But that's probably because you got your head stuck in a portal.
In a portal.
It'll do it.
Yeah, you did come out and said that the words, you get words, and then suddenly there was just this massive interference. Yeah. And we did say, well, that would be why.
Mm.
You stick your head in a portal, you're going to get some sort of interference. Like,
You do.
let's all talk like a Pontefract person. Sorry, Pontefract people, you are gorgeous. So, we're talking in our northern accent, Yorkshire. All right, so CAG, Jared came out the portal.
Yeah.
Now, Jared, when he was in the portal, was quite, that's how I said, when he was in the portal, was quite snippy in his answers, or started to get. I don't know if you noticed that. And I think we did comment on that. There was nothing relevant so much as just a little snippy, which seemed out of character a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he came out, and he seemed fine when he came out. And we did some singing. Maybe it was our singing, CAG, but we did a bit of
Maybe.
singing. And we got these guys to sing. And what did we sing?
Bohemian Rhapsody,
did.
of course.
Of course. And I do believe the spirits there were thrilled with our singing.
Yeah, because the others came out with Cross.
Yeah. And we were going, oh, what, like cross on the beads? Because you give me a rosary beads and you take a pink one to carry around because it's my colour, obviously.
But what was interesting, though, it came, we all heard it say Cross,
Yes.
but actually it printed Crops.
Yes, but it definitely said cross.
Mm.
I'm even going to play that now.
Mama, life has just begun,
And now we've gone and thrown it all away.
Doom, doom.
The neighbour's going to be like, what the heck?
So yeah, we've done it, guys.
We've done it.
Okay, bingo, bingo, bingo.
Cross.
That's not mine.
Cross?
Yours.
Cross.
Oh no, it says crops. You said farmer earlier.
Crops. Oh, I swear it said cross.
Cross.
I swear it
I
said
know,
cross.
this happens many times. That prints a word, but it comes out with a completely different one. doesn't
Maybe
it?
sometimes it tries to select the closest word or something
Yeah.
like that.
Cross. Cross. Cross.
Sorry for the singing, everyone.
Now,
What the
See
heck?
what the
that?
hell was that? S-H. S-H? Shh.
SH, that's weird.
Shh.
So you can hear for yourself. That is definitely the word cross, even though it said crops. And we did say, well, maybe it's cross because it doesn't like our singing. Because we did a really good job, I think, didn't we, guys?
Yeah,
I
think
think we
we're
did
good.
Not bad.
Pretty
a
good.
reasonable job. We didn't do it for very long. We just
No.
did, unlike Kagami, which would sing the whole song.
Yeah.
The spirits there only had to tolerate kind of one verse, I think, is what we
Yeah.
did before we finished. And we did ask maybe cross means. We upset them by singing. And then the good old obelisk came out with shh. It's like, all
I
right.
think it's trying to tell us something.
Well, I think what you have
Definitely.
to take into account, though, is that we were singing beforehand as well. So
Right.
this is the second lot of
Oh
singing.
yeah, they
so
had
they were
tolerated
like,
a lot of our singing before the investigation.
Yeah, I think
This
they've
is
had
true.
enough by that point.
So, and then the Vox, Ghost Tube Vox. So we turned that on at the end. So for all those out there who have not come across Ghost Tube Vox, we went through Ghost Tube last week. Explain Ghost Tube Vox.
Do you want to do names? This one?
Yeah, so GhostTube Vox uses a similar functionality to the original GhostTube app. So it relies on the inbuilt magnetometer, as some would say.
Depending where
in
you
a
come
phone.
from.
But instead of selecting words from a pre-populated databank of words, it can select snippets of radio. So the possibilities of what it could say are potentially endless because it's anything that could be from a online radio broadcast, basically.
All right,
Is that
so
okay?
That's cool.
that's cool. Because, I mean, people are going to ask. Because
Yeah.
people tend to be very, you just kind of program it in. It's just some quirky thing. So it's always nice to know there is a basis behind it. And this is why Haunted Horizons use it. Because unlike some apps that we really don't know how they're programmed, I don't. And I don't want to trust to an app that I don't know what's programmed. But, you know, you talk to Jared and Amy, they will talk to you. They'll talk your ear off on how they've programmed it. And that's the honesty and kind of what we like. So now, Vox, I think the one thing that Vox came out with, and it actually comes out now. This is the interesting thing. I don't know if you haven't watched the video yet, Amy. Oh, yes, you have. We've given you a little sneak peek of our episode. So, one thing you might have missed, Amy, and I don't know if you picked it up, and I'm going to ask you if you did pick it up, because I only picked it up today when I was refreshing what we had happen. And we do go through the videos just to make sure we're not missing anything. The Vox actually says Fred. on that video, and I didn't pick it up, and I didn't comment on it, and I didn't tag it. Did you hear that?
I haven't heard Fred, but
Go back and listen.
I will. And like, I know that the family used to nickname the ghost Fred, but I know that that nickname has also stuck because the people who run the ghost tours, there's a little note when you go there. They give you some instructions and stuff how to care for and lock up the house. And one of them is Fred always likes, or you have to keep the kettle unplugged or something. And it specifically says you need to do that for Fred.
Oh.
So they still refer to the
it
spirit
as
as
Fred.
Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the following voice, because I don't know if you remember the creepy voice that came out of Vox. And first of all, you get Fred. I didn't realize it said Fred's name. And then he's this really creepy we were asking, is that Fred that's talking? Is it Fred that's here? And it comes out with, and it doesn't finish the sentence. He just goes, he's. And then it says some garbled thing, but it's a real creepy tone. I'll play it in a minute for you guys. And then an even creepier voice that just goes, lives or dies, like that at the Vox.
Creepy.
And it
gosh.
actually kind of makes you tingle listening to it. So I will just play this now for you.
How many spirits or how many people are up here right now with us?
He's what?
Oh! So that was creepy, wasn't it? I don't know if you remember it being that creepy at the time, but listening back, it was just like, oh.
Super creepy.
At the time we were laughing, I think you and I were laughing this lives or dies, where it was about us.
Yes.
But Pontefract, we're going to finish on something. Okay. So we'll finish on that. But before we go to this, we're just going to finish with Amy and Jared. So you went on to investigate, and I believe you had a good night. We're not going to talk about it because they'll be releasing their episode next year sometime.
Should be.
Yeah. So look out for that one, for what they had happened after we went home. Well, after we left. And we had a really weird time again. The first time we went
to Pontefract.
We'd done the monk's house, and we're going to talk about we call it the Pontefract curse.
Yeah.
All right, because we had to ring Jared and Amy the next day. So after all that weird stuff, and after that lives or dies, we decided to wind it up, because at the end of the day, we were encroaching on these two guys. They were there for the night. They were there to make an episode. They just kindly invited us to do a live stream. So, and we really needed sleep, didn't we?
We did.
So
we were so tired.
We had a long trip the day after as well, down to the other side of the country. So we said our good nights. But before we did, I'm going to talk about Jared, because he's here listening.
Moi?
Yes,
yes.
you.
Yes, you who turned really weird. So he'd already been snippy with his answers on the ghost box. He'd become very, and he seemed fine.
It was fine afterwards.
He was
for a
doing the
little while,
box,
yeah.
pressing the button and letting it go,
Yeah.
and it seemed fine. And then we went, well, okay, so we're going to wind it up. And I was doing my thank yous to Amy and Jared. And Jared suddenly just stormed past us, didn't he?
Down the stairs.
Yeah. Do you remember doing that?
Mm-mm.
And being so short?
I do remember being short, but not the stairs bit.
I mean, were you angry with us? Did you not like us, Jared?
I was starting to feel the night gone. Because at that point, you got to remember we were just starting too.
Yeah. But he was kind of putting things in our hands and kicking us out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared went from so when we first got there, like we mentioned, we were singing and dancing. We were all in an upbeat, happy mood.
Yeah.
And then it was like, as soon as he kind of came out the Estes, his demeanour changed a bit.
Yeah.
Apparently, can you swear on this channel?
No, you can't.
Apparently, I was a jerk
You could spell it.
He was the C word. He was. I don't know if I can say that.
D word? Just jerk. We'll just go with jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just went kind of nasty, and honestly, like after you guys left, I felt like that continued through the night to the point where I was like, "You go to bed, and I'll do this investigation by myself because you're just like you're too much to me for me right now.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone."
Yeah.
And he also was made to sleep on the floor while I got the bed.
She did make me sleep on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember doing that because he
Yeah.
was just like really short. And I didn't realize that he was like that with you ladies because he would never be like that with you guys.
We do test.
or anyone
We do
other
test
than
the boundaries,
me.
though.
Do they?
So-
We do. This is us. We get the best out of everybody.
But it was really weird because he was okay when he came out of the portal, but it was at that point that he changed,
Yeah.
really, and it was just like, and it just wasn't the Jared that we all know and love. He was
Yeah.
just real grumpy so-and-so.
So, but there you go. It's a Pontefract. So we were left. We left them to it. And then we hit the Pontefract curse, didn't we?
Which we
will finish on.
We have had the Pontefract curse.
Well, we didn't know it was a curse.
Previous visit.
So very quickly, on our first visit, we were going to stay the night in 30 East Drive, but because we're on a tour and everybody else, I think there was going to be about 10 people staying in that house. It's too small. We weren't going to get anything done. So we decided at 3 o'clock in the morning, we were going to go and get a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So off we drove. We didn't book one. We just thought we'd find one. And we found a girl instead. Well, there's this poor young girl in middle of, away from everywhere, absolutely in this tight, skimpy clothes, freezing cold night. And she obviously was distressed.
Yeah.
And we can't just drive past that because
Not at that time of the
you know,
day.
if that had been my daughter, I would hope somebody would stop because you just don't know who's around, who's going to take advantage of her. And she was obviously drunk as well. Called the police. Police couldn't get there for an hour. So we thought, you know what? We'll just put her in the car. We'll take her home, wherever she lives. And we could have got drunk on those fumes.
Oh,
She was.
we had to drive with the windows open and hope she wasn't
and
sick
hope she
in
wasn't
the rental
in the rental
car.
car because it was that close. And it's like, whoa, I'm feeling drunk.
Yeah.
And we took her home. She was ever so grateful. And it's one of those things. If we hadn't have been at that time, how everything was set up,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So we felt good. We saved her. Somebody would. You just don't know who's out there, predators and stuff like that. So we went back to Pontefract and the Black Monk's house, and we said goodbye and thank you to Amy and Jared for being so kind to let us join their investigation. And off we went home, slept, got up the next morning with our long drive to do another investigation, other side of the country, and I lost a phone.
Supposedly.
Well, we thought. We did search that bag and it wasn't there. We searched every pocket, so did you. So, but we were desperately trying to find this phone because I thought I dropped it at 30 East Drive. And maybe there was some people around. I thought maybe they dropped it up. So you've got that Samsung phone, Find My Phone. So I put that and it was still got power in it so I could find it. Gave us an address, didn't it?
Yeah.
Turned out to be a little old lady
Yeah.
that we were accusing of stealing my phone.
Did you interrogate her?
Yeah, I just about
Give me my phone back.
I said,
Exactly.
she kept going, I don't even have a phone. And I kept
What about relatives? Have you got a son
what
or
about
daughter?
a son or a daughter? They must have my phone. I said, well, it says your address here, look. Poor little old lady. So we went on our merry way because we couldn't prove otherwise. And then the phone changed.
That was now somewhere else.
And now it was somewhere else. So we went running off down there and then somewhere else. And then it kept coming up with an address. Now it's on a main road and we couldn't stop. And then it would change again. So it was just getting beyond a joke, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We were just like chasing all morning. We thought we'll go to a police station and report it. There wasn't any, was there?
No, they don't have them. In
Apparently Pontefract
anymore.
doesn't have a police station anymore.
No.
We went to 3 that didn't exist anymore. And finally that address took us back to the main road. And we thought, you know what? We were just about to give up. We were about to leave and just go, sorry, I'll just report it to the police and do an insurance on it because it was covered. And I said, you know what? This address keeps coming up. Let's just go there and see what's there. Now, it's a main road. Couldn't park up on the main road. So had to pull around the corner on a side street. And I pulled in just off the junction behind a black car that was in front of me. And it was very weird. Cag went out to go and check the address, and I'm sitting there like this. And I'm watching the driver's door get more and more open into the traffic. And of course, as people come round into the junction, they were having problems and traffic jams. And I'm thinking, that's a very strange. And it was a really hot day, wasn't it?
Oh, it was.
Very,
It was
very
awful.
hot day. And
Yeah.
I'm looking in the driver's rearview mirror from where I'm sitting, looking through the car into the driver's, and I could see this woman's head, and she was kind of doing this. And I'm looking, going, there's something so not right. People were beeping the horns and abusing her, and the door was still open. So Cag just came up to my door just as I moved the car, hadn't I?
Yeah.
I moved my car in front of hers so I wasn't blocking too much of the traffic. Cag came up to the door and I said, Cag, you better go and check this lady behind.
Oh, by the way,
Something's
that
wrong.
house I'd gone to look at didn't exist.
It didn't exist. The address didn't exist at all. So better go and have a look at this woman. And she was in a bad way.
Yeah, she was. She was certainly semi-conscious. She kept passing out. She'd been crying. She wouldn't. Once she realised that I was there, she wouldn't let go of my hand. Thankfully, there was two guys that worked across the road had seen her as well and came over to help out. Didn't they?
Yeah.
We called for an ambulance and we had to wait
an hour for the ambulance to come. And the heat, you could see she'd been there. They said that the car had been there for at least 3 hours in that heat.
Yeah.
She was just about any longer and she probably wouldn't have made it. So we were trying to hydrate her with towels and water, and she had a phone. I thought, please ring. I thought, great, we'll look through her contacts. But she thumb locked it. So apart from grabbing her hand and sticking it on there. But fortunately, somebody rang, and it was her partner that rang. And he was suspicious because I answered the phone, and he's going, who are you? And it's like, I found your wife. You better come over. So, and the ambulance came. He was so beside himself. And here's this. I'm going to finish with this, which still gives me the tingles. All right. I was in the car, leaning across the car, giving him water. And he was, you had got back out the car, drawn
to
back.
Give it, yeah. To
yeah.
give
And
him
I'd stretched the car to give him some water. And he was talking to her. And he said one line, she can't have you yet. And it kind of went over my head on what that meant. And then as we drove away after this ambulance arrived and everything else, Cag, what did he just told you?
Yeah, they'd just lost their daughter a few months beforehand. She'd been in a road accident and had died. And so he was obviously telling his wife that she couldn't go yet.
The daughter can't have her yet. You can't have her yet. She needs to stay here. And I think that's just so sad. And you wonder if somebody wasn't helping out there. That maybe somebody, because the whole lineup of stuff, if I hadn't have lost my phone, if I hadn't, that address kept going out. It wasn't even an address.
No.
It was a false address.
Yeah.
The only place I could park was behind her. And if we hadn't have been there, people were just ignoring it and driving past. And it's just, it's twice now we've been to Pontefract.
And we've saved people's life, and we're not doing it again. We're not going back to Pontefract.
No.
That's all we can say.
I think Pontefract needs you.
I guess.
They don't have a police force. So.
I know, right?
Yeah, and I know that you said the Pontefract curse, but honestly, like that's a uplifting story almost.
It is
like
at
the
the
weird
end.
synchronicities surrounding it to be like, oh, this happened last time, this happened again, like right place, right time to help someone out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's in the same town after we've been to the same house.
Yeah.
And I still remember that line from the Vox there. lives or dies.
Mm.
Right. Yeah, I didn't connect that one.
Could it be that's a life and death situation? That it
Because I was all for going and just leaving the phone and just because we
look,
had somewhere to go.
we were doing this 4 hours. Well, actually, yeah, probably 9 o'clock, and we found her about 12, and we were on
Yeah.
we had to get all the way down to Peterborough, which was a 4-hour drive, I think, 2.5, 3-hour drive. And then we I kept saying, well, let's just, as we're driving down, we saved her and we were on our way. I said, let's just keep looking and seeing where it is now. And I said, Kag, it seems to be in all the places that we've been in. And she goes, well, where is it now? And we'd just gone through, where have we gone through?
Is it a place called Radford or something?
Something like that. And I had a look and she said, where is it now? And I said, oh, look, it's in the town we've just come through. So either the person who stole my phone is following us all the way, or the phone is in the car.
And where was the phone, Alison?
In the bag we had checked. Both of us had checked in that bag, and neither of us had seen it.
Yeah, wasn't my phone.
And what had I said? I had said, come on, I've done it now. I said, I've done what you wanted. Let me have my phone back. Boom. And there it was. What a story to leave us on Pontefract and 30 East Drive.
Maybe the Black Monk. People think it's a sinister, dark entity. Maybe Fred ain't such a bad guy after all.
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's what we are. Do you remember doing Villisca? And I don't know if Johnny House had told you, the house is whatever you want it to be. I don't know if you did you do Johnny?
That
came out wrong, didn't it?
He said,
did you do Johnny?
At this point, the house is haunting itself, is what he told us.
Yes.
So, and it reacts differently to different people. So, different energies coming through, different intentions, I guess. So,
aggressive people get aggressive responses. Yeah. What if 30 East Drive is the same? What if 30 East Drive is a house that's haunting itself type thing? And it depends who goes in as to what you get.
And what they bring.
Yeah, and what they bring to it. And maybe, as you say, it's not all bad if we're not going in with that belief and that intention of it being bad. Big coincidence, isn't it? 30 East Drive, both times we end up saving somebody's life.
Yeah.
So
can you not leave me with the lady that's crying and wanting kisses and cuddles and when she was conscious and mucus all over her face? Next time, can we just swap it over next time when you do that bit?
you felt good. You felt good.
I didn't. I felt I needed a shower afterwards, but I really want to know. I really wanted to know how she's done, and unfortunately, it's something we'll never find out.
It's like that girl that we dropped off in a house. I can't remember where the house was. The hard part is we're never going to know.
Mm.
And I don't know what they're called. I don't know what ever happened to her and the lady. And I don't think that was what it was ever about. It was about we helped. We helped two people. We'll never know. Yeah. We'll never know what happened to them after that. We'll never know their story. But we helped two people, and that's the main thing. So maybe the house isn't all that bad.
So maybe next year we don't go to Pontefract.
But Amy said Pontefract needs us, Kat.
No, maybe not. But also, it's coming up to New Year, guys. So what are you doing at New Year?
They're pretty boring.
Obviously, we're having a really lively New Year. I don't know. I haven't actually.
We are pretty boring when it comes to New Year's.
Yeah, I'll probably just try to plan out and think about where I want to go.
Pray that one of our friends hosts a barbecue or something.
We're working, aren't we, Alison?
We're working.
As always. Tours.
Oh.
Yeah, we always have a New Year's.
We're working down at the Adelaide jail this year. Nice. We're going to do a Victorian method night.
That'll be fun.
Okay.
So, a couple of spots left, if any. Well, there was when we
probably won't be by the time this
recorded this. So, all right, we're going to leave it there. Pontefract, interesting place. With that, thank you very much to you two for Amy and Jerry coming in once again and giving us some of their time. And thank you also for inviting us to Pontefract.
Of course. And I know you said earlier you were encroaching on our investigation, and that's not true. You never are. You're
Yeah,
always
that's good.
welcome.
We had
Even
a
if
laugh,
Jared
didn't we?
chews you out at the end, like, help.
Here is your belongings.
Yeah.
When
It
are
was
you
like, here's your
leaving?
cameras,
Yeah.
here's that, go.
That's fun. It's
All
always
right.
funny.
Actually, you could probably blame me rushing you out as why you forgot your charger. Remember?
I did.
That's why they had to come back. Yeah.
we had to come back the
Yeah.
next day. See, there's another thing that disappeared. It's
Yeah.
like, so, but all good. So, all right. Have a lovely new year, and we will see you again in 2023. Okay.
Happy
Have
New
a safe
Year.
one.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
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 Please remember to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. The extended video version of these episodes are available for members of Spotify and Patreon. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and see the full investigation from these episodes on our YouTube channel. Details are in the About section of this podcast. Thank you from Cag and Ali for listening.